All right, sisters and Zatima fans. So yesterday, I decided to just go all out in a post to really just talk about Fatima in general and my issues with the character. And overall, I'd say that my Fatima filibuster, if you will, did pretty well. I mean, I've seen a couple comments who have said I don't agree with what you said, but I think I've only seen maybe two or three of those compared to I agree with a lot in this post, but I also disagree with a lot in this post. And then more often than not, as I scroll through the comments on Twitter, my YouTube community tab, and then my Zatima Facebook and my Sistas Facebook groups, 100% agree. It was a long read, but it was well thought out. I couldn't have said it better myself. Tyler needs to see this. You should be the one writing for the characters. This, that, and the third. But yeah, I just decided to just go in on why I felt the way I've been feeling about Fatima. I mean, if you've been watching my sister's videos for, at least the past couple months, then you have an idea. It's not that I'm ranting, it's that I'm really just describing in detail, okay, here's my beef with the character, and it's just, obviously as time goes on, people will change. It's just kind of funny how of the small, and I mean small handful of people in the show who have actually changed, it's been Fatima and Zach. Some good ways, some bad ways. But I'm going to go ahead and read through my post on Twitter. Also, people are like, wait, how can you write this long tweet on Twitter? Look, I subscribe to Twitter Blue, which for some reason they took my blue check mark away, and then they sent a notification saying that they're reviewing the check mark, which is weird because I've paid for it, but whatever. And I think that some of the perks of Twitter is if you pay for the subscription, you can edit tweets and you can write tweets longer than the what is it, 200 or something character count. Either way, it's one of the things. If you subscribe, then you can write long tweets. So let me get into it. Okay, I think what really hurts as a Sistas fan is seeing what has happened to Fatima over the course of season 5. She used to build Zach up, but now she's been constantly berating and doubting him. It's tough to watch. Earlier in the season, I said that she was acting like Karen because she was talking to Zach the same way his ex used to. That's why he called her Karen by mistake at the gym. Despite acting like her, there's a difference regarding how fans see Fatima when she acts this way towards Zach. I think it boils down to us as fans seeing Fatima go from kind to authoritative. We never really saw the kind Karen from early in her relationship with Zach. Fans only saw the scorn Karen who was tired of his shenanigans after 3 years of a toxic romance. Heck, go back to season 1 when Aaron actually had a backbone. He told her off because of how venomous her words to Zach were. Now, season 2, fans saw Fatima as a kind woman who was willing to help a guy who was down on his luck. She saw the potential in this jailbird and believed in him. Now, am I saying that Fatima hasn't been through a lot with Zach? Absolutely not. She had to deal with a lot. But she's the one who chose to be with him no matter what. Through the baby mama drama, the scorned ex, this, that, and the third. The most frustrating thing about Fatima is the lack of consistency and the hypocrisy of her character. One minute she promises Zach that she will never leave his side and that she loves him so much. But all of that goes out of the window the second her Ian senses start tingling. These two have never had a perfect relationship. That's great, because a perfect relationship doesn't exist. However, there was a time when these two would communicate instead of clash. Fatima used to be willing to hear what Zach had to say instead of allowing her own insecurities to dictate her actions. Yes, Zach can be a hothead and a screw up. I'm not saying he's a perfect guy, but deep down, he's a good man who has made mistakes. He is trying his best not to repeat the same mistakes he did with Karen. It seems that Fatima, who once helped this man get back on his feet, is constantly trying to push him back down on the ground at every turn. it doesn't help that she has somehow forgotten how to apologize. Anytime they get into any sort of debate or argument, it is usually Fatima who goes from a 6 to a 15. When Zach matches her energy, she snaps on him to calm down, despite her being the one to raise her voice and not listen to what he has to say. At the end, he's the one who is groveling at her feet by saying sorry over and over again just to calm the beast. Yet, for someone who is not part of the sister circle, Fatima has been acting like one, an unofficial sister, because for some reason, she is always pointing out a man's flaws, in this case, Zach's. She's always pointing out Zach's flaws, but never admitting to any wrongdoings of her own. Seriously, I mean, have you noticed that about Fatima? Like, these two used to apologize to each other. You know, if one of them were, you know, just if they blew up on the other character and they cooled off, they would say, look, I'm sorry, I was tripping. Fatima doesn't do that anymore. Even when she's the one that starts to shit, Zach is the one who has to apologize over and over again just to get Fatima to calm down, because if not, she's going to be tripping. All right. Back to the post here. Zach has rightfully called her out throughout the season about how he must stop everything when she wants to talk, but Fatima has to be in the right state of mind if he wants to have a conversation. Basically, it's Fatima's way or the highway. I mean, literally, I can think of at least 5 different times where Zach has rightfully called her out for not keeping the same energy. All right. Most of the time, it feels like Zach is the only one fighting to keep their relationship together. Fatima will leave at the first sign of trouble. It's crazy how she will show grace to the likes of a Hayden or Karen, yet Zach is the one who usually feels her wrath, unless you count Deja. Overall, I love me some Crystal Renee Hazlett, but Fatima has really rubbed me the wrong way this season. Will Zatima Season 2 explain some of the out-of-character moments that Zach and Fatima have had in Sistas Season 5? Maybe. It depends on the whole separate continuities or whatever. Season 5 put way too much focus on the Karen, Zach, Fatima drama. Back in Season 3, there were some fans who felt that Zatima ruined Sisters. However, I'd say that Season 5 ruined Zatima. What are your thoughts? So that was pretty much it. And I mean, is there really anything left to say? I feel like I laid it all out there for people to give their insight on. And, you know, for those who said they disagree, not that many people explained why. And this wasn't to cause any friction or debate, but for those who, you know, wondered why I haven't been feeling Fatima at all this season, aside from a couple episodes, this is mainly it. It's just that she's not the same person anymore. You know, some people are like, well, yeah, the honeymoon phase is over and this, that, and the third. And I can understand that, but I think what really makes Fatima such a divisive character is just the inconsistency. I mean, Zach, I love you, and no matter what, I want to stand by your side. But then in the same breath, she could easily say, Zach, you need to man up. You need to handle this. And how are you going to let this person talk to me like this? And you know what? I'm leaving because my ex treated me like this. It's just like, no, you can't have it both ways. It doesn't help that she accepted his proposal. Yes, these two have moved way too fast, you know, from moving in together really quick. And look, yes, Fatima had her reservations. Yes, Zach kept pushing. But by the end of it, as I always say, Fatima made the choice. It doesn't matter if Zach kept shoving the key in her face. She made the choice to let go of her own independence and live with Zach. You could, yeah, she did say, you know, hey, I'm keeping my apartment, I'm renting it out. I'm not just going to give her my own space. And I was behind her on that decision. But it's just the fact that you have Fatima in this situation where she becomes, and I said, I remember getting so much flack on Twitter early on in season 5. Fatima was a bully. You know, it's just the fact that she would like strong arm her way into the domineering role of the relationship. Whenever Zach tries to stand up for himself, she just knocks him down, which is exactly what Karen did, or still does, to be completely honest. I think it comes down to the who wears the pants relationship, but at the same time, you know, going from, oh, my house, but then when you really think about it, at least from how I've been watching the show, this and Zatima and Sisters, it just feels like it's been Fatima who's been using the word my more than Zach. The only time I can really think of Zach, I guess you could say, flaunting the fact that he paid for something was in Zatima episode 6 or 5. Basically, it was after the whole Deja photo, and these two were arguing in the front of the house. You know, the photo of Ian and Fatima versus the photo of Zach and Deja. And she was about to leave, and the car's like, oh yeah, I paid for that car. Okay, fine. And then she got a ride with Angela. So that was the only time I really recall Zach going, yeah, that's mine. You know, I paid for this. Yeah. But that was it. Other than that, it's been Fatima who's been saying, you know, clean out my hot tub. Oh yeah, I mean, this is, you know, this is my house. I just need to make him think it's his. It's like things like that have me going, wait, what? And then you have the nerve to like take what Zach said out of context and get pissed off and leave. It's like, okay, I can relate to this because back when I had an apartment, whenever I was at home and it just felt like I was away for too long, more often than not, you know, especially when like, why don't you stay here? It's like, look, I've been here for 3 days. I'm ready to go. I'll just find any reason to like start some shit and leave. It's like it got to that point where it just got so, you know, like one little thing could set me off. Like, that's it, I'm going back to my apartment. So it's just one of those things where I get it, where when you want to leave, you will find any reason to. But the fact that my biggest gripe with Fatima is the fact that she's lost that empathy, the willingness to listen to what Zach has to say, wanting to understand what he's going through, and then also apologizing. We don't see that Fatima anymore. I mean, how many times has it been a situation where Fatima will be like, you know what, you messed up or something's wrong. And then Zach's like, wait, what do you mean? Well, I mean, if you don't know, then that's a problem. No, I'm sorry. But it's like, no, there's no communication. Fatima, if Zach said he doesn't understand what's wrong, you're supposed to tell him. You're not supposed to make it where he has to read your mind. She's become a sister, and I hate that. No, she's not part of the sister circle. She's made it clear. And then Danny said, well, yeah, she would be part of the circle if Karen wasn't tripping. But that's about it. And then you look at how Fatima's been acting. She is literally a sister. I know she's in the opening credits and everything, but like I said, the show's continuity confirms she isn't part of that circle. But now it's gotten even worse when you have outside forces, the likes of Angela. But to be fair, I'm not even going to put all the blame on Angela because Fatima's been tripping for basically the whole damn season. The whole photo thing with Karen that Angela showed her only happened just recently. It's just that Fatima can do certain things that Zach does as well, but, you know, he gets called out for it, but she doesn't. I mean, I think we kind of got a hint of this towards the end in the Zatima finale, if I'm not mistaken, about Fatima confronting Zach over, oh, you were trying to help your boy, you know, hide his, you know, affair with Deja from his wife. Well, what about you not telling Angela about how her boy, you know, tried to put his lips on me? Well, that's different, but she couldn't explain why. It's just one of those things where these two just seem to be at each other's throats instead of, you know, at each other's hearts, if that makes any sense. But I don't know. It just feels like overall there has been a massive jump in their dynamic where it just feels like with Zach and Karen having their on again, off again thing for 3 years. And, you know, Zach even hinting at the fact that, like Fatima being very kind and understanding at the beginning of their relationship, that's how Karen was. But then over time, she morphed into the, you know, scorned lover that we've seen her since Sister season 1. But with Zatima, we're seeing this way. We're seeing this way quicker, you know? It's just that, yes, these two have been through a lot, and it does feel like we're hitting the fast forward button, even though it's the whole, each season is like a week, even though there have been lines in the series which definitely counteracts that point of, oh, it's been months, even though it literally makes no sense for it to have been months, but whatever. So, I don't know. I just feel like Fatima, we're really pushing the Zatima dynamic to the forefront of Sisters, which is bad because the more they're in the spotlight, the more repetitive drama they have to deal with as a couple. And Fatima as a character just doesn't feel the same. I mean, the only time it felt like Fatima was back to her old self was when Madam came into the show. And I said then, yeah, they're going to have to dial back Fatima's attitude. That way you can see somewhat of a difference between her and Madam, because if Fatima continues to act the way she's acting, Madam has no reason to show up. But yeah, that's really all I had to say, with my long post, just giving my grievances to the Fatima character. And, I guess maybe as we watch Zach and Fatima deal with their issues, it is going to be easier for me to really separate the shows, because when looking at the trailer for Zatima, it's just like, okay, Zach and Fatima here, I am definitely going to try my best to treat them as their own separate entities or variants compared to Sisters, because I don't know what the hell is going on in Sisters. And Zatima, I feel like I have a better grasp of what's going on. But then when you watch Sisters Season 6, bet money they're going to make nods to certain things in Zatima Season 2. It's confusing as hell. I love me some Crystal. I just wish the writing was more solid for the characters. It just feels like because Tyler knows Zach and Fatima are the main ticket draw for ratings when it comes to Sisters, he's just pushing them more into the forefront. But the material, it doesn't feel as... You know what? It's like when people compare artists and their albums, like the monster that was Bobby Brown's Don't Be Cruel, but then you compare it to the Bobby album, it doesn't feel like the same amount of quality went into that album that its predecessor got. I feel like that's the same way that Zach and Fatima were. Like, Zach and Fatima, forefront, a lot of great material. Like, in the midst of the chaos that is the toxic love lives of the sisters, we can always count on at least a solid 2 to 4 minute scene of Zach and Fatima being lovey-dovey. And it's like, you see that? Now that's black love. I don't know what the hell is going on with Andy and Gary, or, Danny and whoever she's sleeping with in this episode. But Zach and Fatima, we know we're going to get a solid couple minutes with them per episode. Now we're getting a bulk of the episode on these two, and it's just a mess. So it goes back to the video I did a week or so ago about Zach and Fatima needing to leave Sisters. But, I'm done rambling. You can let me know how you feel about it. I just feel like Fatima has lost that quality that made her very likable. She's become a sister as opposed to an individual. That was the thing about Fatima. She was confident, well put together, calm, cool, collected. Now she's just as emotionally unstable as any of these other women. That's it. Like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.